Hey everybody, this is LeDerick Horne. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of your celebration, recognition of African American History Month. Um, I am a spoken word poet. I'm also an advocate for people with disabilities. I have two collections of my poetry, which are audio CDs, and I'm also the co-author of the book Empowering Students with Hidden Disabilities, A Path to Pride and Success. And I do work around improving the outcomes of folks with disabilities all over the country and a bit internationally. But I am also a poet. So I thought for a few minutes I might share a few pieces. In my mind, I have three that I would like to share. But before I do that, I just want to say thank you for allowing me to be a part of this celebration. I'm a fan of the Medford Arts Center. Jeff and Libby are really, really dear friends of mine. And I've had an opportunity to come and take part in poetry readings and see some of the wonderful exhibits you guys have there. And I'm also really, really proud that you as an art institution supporting work in New Jersey and in neighboring states, that you have found a way to stay open, stay connected, and continue to provide programming and opportunities for all of us, even though the world has been very challenged with all the things related to COVID. So the first poem I'd like to do is a poem that I like to start out my presentations with. It's pretty good as a sort of introduction to who I am, a bit of an autobiography, and it is called New Beginning. I was born on the last day of the 9th month in the year 77. And if you know your numerology, you'll see that my destiny is in line with the divine. I'm only one of a chosen few, here to offer you rhyme, reason, and song, combined with word magic and poetic acrobatics that flip from my mouth, fall into microphones, and hopefully make a home within your minds. Hey yo, back in time, you could find cats like me snacking on knowledge-filled fruits in the Garden of Eden. But instead, I made my bed in a garden state on the east coast of a country that is mine because my ancestors helped build it with blood, sweat, and tears. Their daily fears still be my everyday reality. Never got caught up in that emancipation or you free now fallacy, because I too have been systematically institutionalized to rely on everything, and I do mean everything except for myself. During teenage days, I was trapped in a cage without bars, mental scars produced by verbal whippings. My mind's front lines were infiltrated by lies and a camouflage of truth. My youth here in central New Jersey has made me worthy of the title survivor, because I survived. Yes, I survived. I didn't just say no, I survived. I didn't graduate, I survived. I didn't grow up. I survived by dodging the forces set on killing me. And eventually I learned that I am actually, internally, externally, abstractly, and concretely a finite example of the eternal infinity that walks in the flesh. So come walk with me, y'all. We can go for 30 miles in any one direction. We can watch as the farmers' fields become suburban avenues and the suburban avenues become concrete blocks. Let's watch as the backwoods becomes the rolled up weed that feeds tired minds and hungry souls that traded in their future for gold chains and a ghetto equivalent of the American dream. I've got a dream, and I put it in each poem. I twist it in each line. I pour it in each word and make sure it's heard each time I drop. That's why I always let the hip hop rock on my rhymes. It's why I always flow with an exit 9 state of mind. It's why I stay one with the sun to make sure my light shines and give birth to each verse from a place that's divine. Hey yo, back in time, you could find cats like me snacking on knowledge-filled fruits in the Garden of Eden. But instead, I made my bed in a corner of the Garden State, which was once the 908, but is now the 732. Formerly New Jersey, now New Jeru. They say the place is getting better, and I just hope that's true, because we all deserve a new beginning. Thank you. Bunch of little New Jersey references in there. Exit 9, state of mind. So I grew up and still live in Franklin Township, just south of New Brunswick. Little references like that throughout. The next poem I'd like to do for you is a poem that I wrote and released last year. It's called Until Every Barrier Falls. And it's a piece that I wrote because last year we were celebrating the 30th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA. And the ADA is a real landmark civil rights legislation that builds upon many, many decades of disability advocates fighting for protection under the law, greater access, and it really is a law that both allows for access and also protects people with disabilities against discrimination. This poem is a celebration of that act, but also a celebration of all the people who struggled to help make that law happen. And so I wrote it last year for the anniversary, but of course that was 2020. And so I'm also recognizing the push for social justice and the other issues that our nation were wrestling with during that time. So this is Until Every Barrier Falls. And if you like it, check out my social media, go to my YouTube page, type that in. We put together a really, really beautiful video for it. So here it is. This is for the ones who would not be trapped behind exclusion's shameful wall. And this is for the ones who will continue to push until every barrier falls. This is for every wounded warrior who came home and challenged our grateful nation to elevate its expectations. This is for the ones who blocked the buses, sat in the sit-ins, and crawled to the Capitol. This is for the marchers, the protesters, those adapt angels with wheelchair wings who troubled the waters of their time so that this generation might live in a more inclusive now. As I write this, all over America, monuments are falling, and only questions stand atop each empty pedestal as I recite this. I hope an artist is listening and will respond with marble and bronze, but until then, Ed Roberts, Judy Heumann, this poem is for you. Let each line chase the light in your smiles and trace the contours of your commitment. Let these words salute those dedicated to the ideals that equality sprouts from the branch of equity. Independence is the flower that grows from access, and freedom is rooted in the soil of advocacy. This is for the ones who have embraced the reality that humanity is both fragile and mighty. And when we ask for help, it is not a sign of weakness, but instead is an indication of our determination. However you navigate, it is legit. This is for those who read with their eyes, ears, and fingertips. This is for the minds that dance in details, and for the wide-eyed ones who remake the world with every thought they think. We are the river of innovation from which the whole world drinks. And who am I? I am a lover of words, left heartbroken by every spelling test. In school, my desk was in a classroom at the end of the hall, so this poem is for me too. Within me is the meeting of two movements. I am black and blue, my disability is hidden, and I am the descendant of those who could not hide. I am your neighbor, your countryman, one of the poets our nation has produced. And here is what I know to be true. This world is not enough. And if this here is what we call normal, then I say, let's be different. Let us, on this day, celebrate every shape, every color, every way. Let our actions commemorate the array of our being. Build a future in service of the multitude, and let this century be the wilderness from which our better selves are born. All right. And in there, I tell a little bit about my own story. So I got involved in doing disability advocacy work because I have a hidden disability. I have a learning disability, and I spent from ninth grade through graduation in special ed. I didn't learn to write until I got to college, and started using accommodation and supports. And I graduated and went out into the world, and I'm working hard to try to make this world a better place for people who have challenges like my own. The poem I'd like to finish with is new. I just finished writing this yesterday. In about a week from when I'm recording this, my grandmother, my mother's mother, will be celebrating her 95th birthday. And so this is a poem that I wrote for her. And so it's a celebration of her, but it's also a celebration of my family. And by this, I hope it's a celebration of all Black families. And so the poem is called, and the first line is "The First and Rarest Gift." And the first and rarest gift is a few words that I took from the opening line of a love poem that my grandfather wrote for my grandmother early on in their relationship. So I'm going to try to give this a read. This is the first and rarest gift. The first and rarest gift is love. It is a light, a kiss, commitment, promises whispered, a touch gentle. We are, because those before us dared to love, to step forward together, out from Pharaoh's land, into a future unknown. We are that future. Within each of us, there is a promised land. Our bones are made strong by our grandparents' belief. Our skin still carries the warmth of a sun-filled sky. It's been a roundabout way. At times the road was hard, but somehow we found a path. We always had enough, and we still fly. We still fabulous. We still shine like grandmother's smile. Still shine like candy paint on summer's day. Still shine like the gold of wedding rings. Still shine like the love that pulled us through. A cloud by day, fire by night. Even with a mask on, you can still see our light. Even at a distance, we stay in touch. Through post, we share our prosperity. Through the phone, we answer a call for support. Through screens, we meet newborn sweet babies. The dream was tested, but not deferred. The turntables might wobble, but our music kept playing. Through it all, our hearts kept dancing, and we still fly. We still fabulous. We, the twist, the braid, the wavy straight fade. We, the cage bird song, phenomenal, beloved, the ones who still speak of rivers. We, the dark brown, light tone, cocoa sweet, descendants of tears and triumph. We, the gamblers, penny stake players, $2 birdies, hustle and the joy. We, the workers, the hands made rough from plow to factory, from blackboard to emergency room, from office space to hair salon. We, the draped up and dripped out, rotten slow, deuce out. We, the voices seeking grace, praying for mercy, lifted in praise and song. We are that song, that poetry, the lyric living, humanity's rhythm, a people dipped in the blues. We are family. Yes, yes, y'all, we are family. In my grandparents' house, there is love, the first and rarest gift. That love lives in each of us. It is our inheritance, our light. It is the connection that connects us all. Thank you so much for listening to a few of my poems. Please connect with me online. I love to connect with everyone. My website is real simple. It's just my first name, LeDerick.com. And before I close out, I just want to recognize one of the first things in the month of February that showed up in my inbox. Jeff Lucas sent me a really great video that the Art Center put together. And it was beautiful readings of poetry from the Harlem Renaissance. And I remember starting my day after that was released by listening to those poems. Many of them I know and have heard before. And I just want to say one of my favorite writers from the Renaissance is Jean Toomer, and Toomer doesn't get a lot of play. I remember studying his book Cain, which is a beautifully crafted combination of prose and poetry and song lyrics that paints a really amazing picture of the rural South. And there's a copy, like a recent release within maybe the past 5 years of Cain that came out, and I reread it, and at the end of it, there's a section written by Henry Louis Gates, the scholar Henry Louis Gates, and in it he gives a lot of biographical information about Toomer, and I don't believe that it's a good idea to try to diagnose anyone with having a disability, after they've passed away, and particularly from folks from a long time ago. But one of the things that I appreciated was that Gates conveyed that Jean Toomer struggled in school. He really struggled with language, and I think he had maybe an uncle that really pushed him and supported him to acquire language and acquire the ability to write. So just thank you for putting together that video and for giving a shout out to one of my favorite writers. All right, that's it. Enjoy the rest of Black History Month. And then the other thing that I would just say is that it's really important that we realize that Black history is something that we need to recognize and celebrate throughout the year. And that the act of celebrating people from the past is not enough, but we also need to make sure that we are supporting Black people, Black artists, Black families who are alive and living today. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.